Good morning, traders. This is Michael coming to you from Game Edge on Tuesday, September 23rd with our pre-market prep session. Welcome, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe on X as well as YouTube. You'll be notified when we go live with our content. As always, we'll cover our three pillars: sentiment, structure, and trends. Let's go ahead and dive right into it this morning. Looking at our market trend model based on the tick index. Quick orientation is the bolded white line here is our cumulative tick. That's our intraday instantaneous. Cumulative tick, if you're a bull, you want to see this moving from the lower left to upper right, obviously indicating that there's more buying versus selling in the overall market. Yesterday, I talked about an inflection point within the overall cumulative tick. We saw some end of day buying on Friday. We're looking for this to start moving back above our shorter term moving averages, these momentum moving averages, what we call the railroad tracks, early on in the session, indicating that we could possibly move higher. And we got that roughly in between the 12 and 1 o'clock hour. We started moving back to the upside. We were consolidating, nice move up, and then started moving quickly back to the upside. Breadth indicator, new highs versus new lows up here. Obviously, new highs outpacing new lows. And then our filtered cumulative tick was moving to the upside, obviously indicating that institutions, this is plus 1,000, minus 1,000 block orders, that institutions were involved in the overall buying of the market, and our cumulative tick above zero and moving to the upside. All right, moving on to our quality tick, our tick RC. This is what we base our mechanical portfolio on, and we were entering positions. We had a nice NVIDIA position entering yesterday, and we will close that at the open this morning for roughly plus 4 to 5%. So that was a nice one-day move in NVIDIA, just mechanically from looking at the SPX option structure. So again, moving to the upside, the tick, the bolded white CT, indicating that more buying versus selling in the overall market. And if you were heading into the day thinking that we were going to see some weakness, this should have changed your game plan very early on in the day, and then into the afternoon allowed you to get on the right side of the market and catch some of that move up towards 6,700. So as long as this continues to maintain lower left to upper right, making new highs with the SPX, that's indicating that there's more buying in the market, and we will continue to be long the overall market unless this changes. All right, let's move the SPX option structure. We look at the SPX option structure because it's the largest, most notional value and structure. We separate the SPXA from the SPXP. We believe we're the only service that does that. The SPXA is larger institutions and larger market participants, and the monthly expiry is over here, indicated in our web app by the tiles turned on. We're called dominated above and below spot price. So you're probably getting tired of me saying this day over day, but really nothing is changing in the SPXA with institutional positioning. As long as this green net delta column continues to stay green up and down the overall complex, indicating that there's calls supportive in the left-hand plane below spot price, as well as speculation to the upside in the right-hand plane. We most likely will not see a larger pullback within the overall market. Transition area here on the overall DEX transitions of staying above 6,600 will be important. So really no change there. Steady as she goes from the cruise ship, or what we call the SPXA, the large tankers. All right, moving on the SPXP, these are our speedboats. These drive intraday price with positioning, as well as your weeklies, dailies. As you can see via the web app, you can turn individual tiles on or multiple tiles to get an idea of what is happening for 0DT, as well as further expiries for the week or the rest of the month. Call dominated above and below spot price. You see PGX here at 6740. That'd be our first upside target above 6,700. We'll talk about that on the 0DTE structure. And then we see COI up here at 6,800, obviously not anticipating we drive up toward that level today. And then transition area, DEX transition here, again, staying above 6685 will be supportive, and then 6675 would be supportive here. If we're in this overall transition area for full expiries, it could be a little bit choppy, but again, net delta, left-hand plane in the money calls below us will continue to be supportive, as well as the right-hand plane out of the money call speculation continues to happen to the upside. So further price appreciation can continue as far as the structure shows. Moving on to our SPXP GEX ratio, we talk about this extensively. This is as a put call ratio, but we add gamma component, which is our short dated call gamma versus put gamma, and that gives us this ratio right here. And as we always speak of, if the SPXP is moving higher, we want to see this GEX ratio moving higher also. That's just indicating that the short dated call gamma continues to come into the complex and override the short dated put gamma. This gives us a rising ratio, as you would expect. So again, positive divergence to the upside, SPXP moving up, ratio moving up, indicating call speculators are continuing to come into the overall complex. So again, bullish look as long as we're above 1, and bullish look as we're moving to the upside with a positive slope in the overall GEX ratio. SPXP delta balance. This again is separating the planes, so that would be left-hand plane that's below spot price that I just talked about, and the right-hand plane above spot price. The right-hand plane is your green dotted line. This is your out-of-the-money call speculation. Again, as long as it's above 0 and rising to the upside, short-dated call speculation continues to come into the overall complex. Left-hand plane, red dotted line, as long as this is above 0 and at least flattening or staying above that 0 line, this is left-hand plane. This is in-the-money calls, maintaining their overall positioning and not changing the out-of-the-money put hedging, and they're maintaining the in-the-money calls continues. Delta balance is the aggregate of both of those, staying at 1, indicating call speculators are maintaining overall control. So again, unless we see an overall sentiment and structure shift via the SPX option structure, as well as the GEX ratio and delta balance, we most likely will continue at least to be supportive on pullbacks, as we discussed yesterday, or possible price appreciation to the upside as the call speculation is being maintained. And then our overall projection on out for expiries continues to maintain delta balance pegged at 1. So that's the aggregate, and you actually see the right-hand plane rising above the left-hand plane on out in time towards the 29th. So again, that is call speculation continuing to come into the overall complex. So we can still have price appreciation to the upside. All right, moving on to the net stack command. This is the highest sensitivity level for today. Obviously, we look at the delta. We take each individual line and we look at the delta. Again, in the money calls, out of the money calls continue to be supportive on any pullback. You see 6740 here, 6500 here. Net charm 6650, as long as we're above that level, will continue to be supportive, and then 6740 to the upside, those out of the money calls. Gamma, if we drop below 6650, then we could be removing net deltas, so that will be a key area to watch. And then 6740 to the upside, out of the money calls, if we're above that, we'll be adding positive deltas to the upside pretty rapidly. And then our Vanna, if we do see volatility, a change in any aspect. So really not much change there. All right, let's move on to the SPX P0 DTE, call dominated above and below spot price via their web app. You can see the tile turned on here. Drunken Sailor range, about the same as yesterday on the overall distance, 6,700, 66, 65 to the downside. So same if-thens for today as we laid out yesterday. Very unambiguous for the transition yesterday, a little bit wider today. So it's slight uncertainty in this congestion area, but it overlaps the Drunken Sailor range very well today. So if we're in this overall range, it could be extremely choppy, as you see the low exposure area via the net OI. So we'll be driven by intraday volumetrics and market participants opening and closing mechanically of contracts. And we posted our volume command yesterday on X, so make sure you check that out. Again, we had positive slopes on the call and put centroid, so we were all net long as that continued to the upside. So that allowed us to have a visual via that tool that speculation was to the upside. So we want to be on the right side of that combined with our market trend model. So today, if-thens are for above 6,700, positive slopes and market trend models to the upside. We'll be looking for 6,740. That's that first gradient to the upside that most likely could cause some stalling. And we have a confluence of the PGEX level as well as the COTMC. If you've never joined us before, that's where out of the money call speculation becomes in the money, and you can see a local peak in that area. So that's a monetization area that we'd look for. And then obviously you see 6,700 up there, that's COI. Not anticipating we drive up towards that level. Within the overall Drunken Sailor range, pretty choppy. We'll most likely not be putting trades on. Via our SPX game plan, we've had an in-depth discussion about how we'd play the 6,700 area if we see a failure using spreads. So make sure you check that out in the Discord if you're a member. And if you're not a member, come join us. We had a great trade yesterday, as well as multiple trades heading into today, as well as our P2P strategy with that individual NVIDIA, and our our P2P strategy continues to outperform the SPX and SPY buy and hold by a rapid margin. So come join us. And we also have a wheel strategy that we're working on. We're posting those individual stocks that are available for our wheel strategy entries also. So back to our overall plan, Drunken Sailor range, choppiness action, most likely will not play this range. And then for both below the transition as well as drunken sailor range, 6650 would be that first area to be supportive. Again, not anticipating us to drive much lower than 6650, again, unless we're driven by intraday volume metrics as well as our market trend model. So hopefully this gives you a nice game plan for today. Let's move on to our, this is gameedge.us. Come join us there. Again, newsletter, sign up for that, put your email in, and then the pricing tab is where you can join us for Discord. So let's come into our trading view chart for today. I've overlaid the 0DT transition levels as well as the drunken sailor range. I posted this on X yesterday. Excellent game plan yesterday. We actually opened right at the transition areas. Supportive type action. We drove to the upside, tested the top of drunken sailor range. We actually flagged right in the top of drunken sailor range and then took off to the upside towards 6,700. So yesterday was unambiguous moves, just very well laid out game plan. So heading into today, here's our transition levels as well as our drunken sailor range. 6,700 pre-market continues to be that area to the upside. That is causing a stalling action that we've already talked about. So we'll have to get above the overall drunken sailor range to drive up towards 6740, which is that plus GEX level. So we'll see how that plays out within the first half an hour. And then again, any pullback to P-trans or zero GEX on the full expiries will be areas that will look to get involved. And that really matches the confluence of the lower 0DT transition areas as well as the drunken sailor range. So we anticipate these areas to the bottom to be extremely supportive today. Unless obviously we see a significant shift in structure sentiment as well as the market trend model. So that's how we'll play today. Within transition choppy, within drunken sailor range choppy. Above drunken sailor range, we'll be looking for a move up towards 6740. So let me know if anybody has any questions about how we play 0DTE, how we look at the overall SPX option structure. If we want to look at any individual stocks, I'd be happy to hang around for a few minutes. This is going to be participant driven. I'm not really going to expand too much on individuals for right now. I want to get to some questions. If anybody has any questions or just throw in the chat, I'd be happy to live chat with everybody this morning. I think that's the best way to communicate with people that are new, joining us from X as well as YouTube. So awesome, Ryan. Welcome. Make sure you let us know in the Discord if you need anything. We'd be happy to help you. SPX game plans laid out, and we'll have our team will be in the Discord live starting at 9:30. So let us know if you need anything. Yeah, let's check out Google real quick. Jane, thanks for joining us, Jane. I'm not sure I've seen you post before, so. So here's Google, call dominated above and below spot price. So how we mechanically look for anybody joining us, we mechanically look at the option structure. The first area we look at is the gamma condition if we're call dominated. So that lets us know that we're supportive on any pullback and we have speculation to the upside. So the calls obviously via net delta are green and above are green. And then we have a few other tools in our Discord that help you visually look at this. One would be delta balance, and the other would be GEX ratio that I just went over for the SPX. How we look at the option structure is fractal, so it transfers to individual equities as well as SPX and as well as ETFs. So we mechanically do the same thing for each individual equity. SPX, SPY, Google, doesn't really matter. So that gives us the same repeatability in viewing these option structures. So let's get back to this. We're above transition, so it's supportive. PGEX is up at 260, and that's COTMC. So that would be the first area to the upside. I'd look for some sort of monetization and possible price target. You see COI at 250. So you'd like to see this advance after this expiry. So I'll isolate this Friday's expiry. You see 250 in PGEX, same area. So we do not have a significant amount of upside speculation. We do see COTMC there. So most likely if you're playing for upside, 260 would be that level that I look for stalling. And then on any pullback, 245, the bottom transition should be supportive. If it goes below there, then that would invalidate probably your long thesis. And you'd see a move down towards POI around 240. After this expiry, you see the structure advance. So let's look at that. Hopefully you're viewing this, but you can see the 250 PGEX COI. And then you see after I take this expiry off, you'll see the structure advance. So that's indicating speculation to the upside is continuing to increase week over week. So Google has the opportunity to move up to 265 after this expiry. So if you're playing a 7 to 14 day DTE or even a 30-day DTE, using our web app, this is how you mechanically use it, and you want to continue to look at the overall expiries and make sure the structure is at least advancing or being maintained for you to continue your long thesis. So hopefully that helps in how we mechanically look at these stocks and individual equities, and then how we play our trading plan and our swing plan also. We have a swing trading plan for individual equities that we do the same thing. We look for the structure that's advancing. We have some scanners that help us look for these stocks that are advancing. And then if you enter these trades, then you just continue to look at these day over day. You look at our web app, make sure the structure is being maintained or at least advancing, and you continue with your overall swing trades. So that helps you, not take profit too early. Stay with the overall trade if you get an overall pullback, because obviously you're going to experience price action, right? It's going to go up, it's going to go down. But if the overall speculation to the upside is being maintained via this option structure, we believe in the tail wags the dog. So market speculators are speculating to the upside, so most likely price appreciation would continue. So hopefully that helps. I know long, quick explanation, but I think it's good to get that out for anybody that's joining us of how you can use the same game plan and same evaluation of the structure. Doesn't matter what equity you're looking at. It doesn't change. It's SPX, SPY, Google. We do the same thing. We look at spot price. We look at where we are with the overall transitions. We look at the key levels. And then is the structure changing day over day, week over week? So that's what we look at. So, all right. Any other stocks anybody wants to go over, let me know. I'd be happy to cover them. So pre-market, obviously just chopping around between 0DT transition and top of drunken sailor range. So really, that's probably going to be the MO for today, unless we see a large move above drunken sailor around 6,700. So what you think of Oracle? Okay. Well, let's methodically go through how we do our game plan every day. Zeta, I'll have to check Zeta. I'm not sure if it has enough OI. So Oracle call has had a massive move, Diego, right? Obviously, I think everybody knows that. But call dominated above below spot price, above transition. So we'll mechanically just go through this systematically the same way. Where's our key gamma delta levels? So PGEX, COI, INGEX, and POI. I like to look at those. So PGEX is 330. We can look at COTMC. So upside speculations, pretty much that first local peak gradient is 330. So that's probably going to be the upside. You see COI all the way down here at 280, right? So that's kind of flipped. But we're above transition, so that's supportive. COTMC, 335. Let's look at the individual expiries. So 320 is PGEX and COI. So after this expiry, you want to see the structure continue to advance. Okay, so we'll look and see if it advances. We're above transition. Transition should continue to be supportive as we're call dominated. So we see after this expiry, see PGEX and COI actually go up to 350. Total OI 60,000. So that's decent. Obviously, we already have the 100,000 scanner in. I'd like to see that OI continue to increase. So upside speculation is towards 350. So it can move up towards that level. COTMC is 337, so that'd be the first stalling point. You see 330 there, a decent amount of gradient. So the structure is indicating that we could move up towards 350. At the very least, you want to see us stay above transition. So that would be the 315 to 317.50 area for your thesis to be maintained. So yeah, so Zeta, let's look at Zeta. I'm not sure that's in our, oh, it actually is. Interesting, okay. So this expiry, we're above PGEX and COI. COTMC is 24. Transition area, supportive. Next expiry, not really much advancement to the upside. So I'm going to say with this structure, and the OI is only 5,000, so that's very low. So I would say a significant amount of advancement on Zeta into the next few weeks is probably 2250 there on the next expiry after that. And you see the OI 7,000, so that's most likely where you're going to be looking for price action to move up towards. Target, yeah, let's look at Target. Ryan, I'm not sure what your question is about don't trade for 0DT. You can look at our SPX game plan in our Discord. That has every level laid out and how you should look at those levels. Target, okay. So Sorry, gotta scroll down. Oh my goodness. Okay, so targets put dominated, so weak. We are at the bottom of transition, so not necessarily a long. And then COTMP is 85. COTMC is 90. So I'd look for those levels right there. Put dominated is not indicative of price appreciation. So hopefully that helps with target. Yep. Ryan, yes, we will be in the Discord. Yeah, absolutely. Our team will be in the Discord, and we'll be discussing trades. Now, a lot of us are in and out, but the SPX game plan has it laid out specifically how you should be looking to trade the 0DT for today. So read the SPX game plan. Yes, for our members. If you're not a member yet, I would encourage you to join our Discord. Go to gameedge.us here and click on the pricing tab and join our Discord if you're not a member. We will not be trading 0DT live on YouTube. We have a Discord for our members where we lay out all of our game plan for today. So, yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Again, like and subscribe on X as well as YouTube. You'll be notified when we go live. Yes, scripts are available for Thinkorswim. Yes, TradingView and Thinkorswim. They're automated. They run roughly every hour. We have pre-market scripts, and then we have one that runs after the open where we update where we're at within the overall structure, and then we have multiple runs throughout the day. You do not have to update those. Most of our members just update the morning run after the open. So, all right, thanks everybody for joining us. Again, make it a great day.